beasties using the antenna down into their lairs where they will be fed on by the larva. Again, wonderful. Next one, flatworms. Oh, it's always a fun one. Another amazingly talented parasite. One type of flatworm gets pooped out of cattle, and the flukes in the poop then get eaten up by snails, who puke up these yummy little snail mucus balls that are just like candy for ants. And the ants eat them up, only to have this chemical reaction, which makes them have this irresistible urge to stand at the ends of blades of grass. So they literally climb these blades of grass, stand at the top, and wait to get eaten by cows so the cycle can continue. Just amazing. The last one is truly nightmare fuel. These are hairworms. And Bag of Chips' dad has horrified me by telling me tales of this and showing me videos of this stuff. But this squirming horror infects insects like crickets when they eat other small infected, flying insects. But the parasites can only reproduce in water. So what do? You've gone and infected a cricket. That cricket's standing in a field. That's no good to you. You want to get busy, and you can't do that if there's no water around. So the hairworms produce mind-controlling chemicals that tell their cricket hosts to go towards the light. Like literally, this is what the chemical makes them want to go towards light. So these poor crickets, because water tends to reflect moonlight and such, this light-seeking urge that they have will send these crickets happily towards their doom in lakes and streams where they drown. And of course, the hairworms wiggle out and get busy because they're all happy now because they're now in the water that they needed to reproduce. So they happily reproduce, and then their larvae start the cycle again by burrowing into the larva of another insect, which of course is the tiny little flies that these insects eat. So it's in this, I think they called it a kind of a cyst, in that even though it's burrowed into this larval form of these flies, even when it transforms into the fly version, it's still in there. Those little hairworm larvae are still in there. And what a life! What can I say? What a wonderful life! Just burrowing into insects, left, right, and center. So, apart from all this fascinating, squirmy awfulness of everything I've just told you, parasites are actually, it turns out, incredibly important to many species. And that has some scientists believing that they may be a key to the continuation of various ecosystems. It's potential. These scientists are saying that basically the parasitic elements of these ecosystems are what's holding the whole system together. And that we need to start worrying about, like, parasitic preservation. Because as these species die out, one species of animal, a mammal can die out. That can kill, numerous different parasites that used to live in that animal. So they're literally talking about parasite preservation and protection. Hard to get behind that, but, hey, if it's going to save the planet, why not? In other news, in less gruesome news, we have the IBM hardware punks who created an AI chip that is inspired by the way our own brains work. It's one of these neuro-inspired chips. They're calling it North Pole. It is 20 times faster and almost 25 times as energy efficient as any current artificial intelligence chip on the market. Now, why does that matter? At first I read the story, I was like, whatever, the faster chip, big deal. But here's the crux here. Energy efficiency and power consumption is a big deal when it comes to AI. Future nerds predict that by 2027, AI servers, that's the computers running all this AI stuff, could use between 85 to 134 terawatt hours annually, or 0.5% of the entire world's current electricity use. Like, that's a huge amount of power. Our brains, however, amazingly efficient. They use only 20 watts. So 20 watts. 20 watts is basically the amount of power being drawn by the monitor on my desk when it's in sleep mode. Like, it's tiny, tiny amounts of power. They are so efficient. And that's like 80 to 100 billion neurons capable of performing trillions of operations. And the equivalent of that in AI right now, in order to literally do the amount of processing that our brains does, it would require the power of a small hydroelectric plant. Entire hydroelectric plant dedicated to just doing what our little 20-watt brains will do. So, we're getting better at this stuff, but still a ways off. And that is both cool from the AI standpoint and just how damn cool our brains are. And finally, robots. Yep. Gotta go with robots. I am intrigued by this new driving integrated spherical gear from Tin Lun Lam and the Chinese University of Hong Kong. This thing just really, I don't know what it was about. It's not a particularly interesting video, but just what it can do just got me thinking about all these different things that it could be used for. It uses magnets to create robotic joints that can move in just about any direction and at any angle. So they sort of roll around each other using magnets. There's no actual joints. The joint is created by these magnets. And Tin and his team have been doing a lot of research on self-assembling robots, which is where you go, oh, that makes sense. You got these rolling magnetic robots that could sort of, bump together and start creating larger, more complicated robots from that. It just sounds like a revolutionary new approach to robotics, and I think you should check them out because it's really neat. I'm sort of fascinated to see where they go. And now I shall say, Vive la France, because I'm off to Paris Manga and Sci-Fi Expo this weekend. Really looking forward to, lots of Stargate and film and TV and science and technology geek outs with all of you French fellow nerds out there. It has been way, way too long since I have been in France and seen you all, so I'm very much looking forward to saying hello, and I can't wait to see you there. So it's been way too long. Way too long. I've been in France for decades. So Tech Bandits and Emails of Awesome Awesomeness will resume on my return. I will now say, until we geek again, be safe, be kind, be brilliant, cheerio, and huzzah! And go to techbandits.org, sign up for the newsletter. You want this. I know you do. Cheerio.